A very good evening to you and thank you for joining us on Citizen Business Online. I am Terry Ann Chibet. Now, Mumias Sugar Company has set the 10th of April as its date for the much-awaited extraordinary general meeting for shareholders. During the meeting, the sugar millers' shareholders are expected to give their nod to an increase in the company's authorized share capital to 6.1 billion shilling. Now, that move is in turn expected to set the stage for a rights issue in which additional shares will be offered for sale to the company's shareholders. The proportion and price of the additional shares that will be sold to Mumias shareholders will be determined by Mumias Sugar Company's Board of Directors, subject to the approval of the Capital Markets Authority. Now, the planned rights issue is part of a raft of measures aimed at shoring up Mumias Sugar Company's weak financial position. The government is in the process of injecting 1 billion shillings towards the revival of Mumias Sugar, with another 4 billion shillings expected to be raised by the company's shareholders. Meanwhile, the Cooperative Bank of Kenya has announced a pre-tax profit of 10.9 billion shillings for the financial year ended 31st December 2014. Now, the bank's profit was hardly unchanged in comparison to the previous year's pre-tax profit of 10.8 billion shillings. Cooperative Bank's management has blamed this on a one-off cost of 1.3 billion shillings that the bank was forced to incur when it retrenched 160 managers towards the end of last year. Now, during the period under review, Cooperative Bank's net loans increased by 31% to 179.4 billion shillings. Interest income earned from loans and advances rose by 23% to 24.7 billion shillings. Cooperative Bank's management is now aiming to grow the bank's profitability by at least 30% this year as it reviews its business process with the help of a global consulting firm, that's McKinsey and Company.
We had the one-off retrenchment cost of 1.3 billion, 1.34 billion. We had the operations in South Sudan, which had not done as well as would have expected last year. We are projecting a break even by first quarter this year. 2014 is the first year we started paying at 30% tax, and so we have a 10% tax that hits us then from last year. And so then we get out to have a profit after tax.
Meanwhile, a new entrant has ventured into Kenya's smartphone market. ORB Mobile, a new technology brand co-founded by veteran marketer and former Apple CEO John Scully, has unveiled 8 new devices for the Kenyan market. The range of mobiles includes ORB Mobile's flagship 5-inch octa-core smartphone, the Octopus S520, which retails at 26,999 shillings. The phones were launched last night at a colorful event at Karura Forest. Headquartered in Singapore, ORB Mobiles first launched globally in India in April 2014. The phone has since expanded into the Middle East region in the United Arab Emirates. ORB aims to grow its presence across the world through a disruptive marketing and sales-driven approach that is targeted at young consumers.
About 50% of the population in Kenya is under 25 years, and many of those people do have the affordability for entry-level phones. They cannot afford the high-end premium phones in the market, but they can afford the entry-level phones, and so we are purposely positioning ORB to be entry-level prices. And I was at the Mobile World Congress last week in Barcelona, where all of the phone manufacturers around the world were introducing their designs, but only ORB was targeting the highest quality designs at these affordable entry price points.
Meanwhile, the government has challenged more firms to venture into the business of recycling electronic waste in the country. The Cabinet Secretary in charge of Environment, Professor Judy Wahungu, has said the country is facing the risk of increased volumes of electronic waste owing to the growing use of electronic products. The call comes nearly a year after President Uhuru Kenyatta assented to regulations requiring electronic waste to be processed at government-licensed facilities.
The best practice is that there are companies, for example, Safaricom and East African Recycling, that actually collect in the residential areas. So the best thing to do is to find out when the collections and in which residential areas. And we've realized that this is an area in which we're actually weak. So we're going to come up with, once the regulations have been gazetted, we will come up with a public campaign to enable all the public to be aware that they have the opportunity to recycle their electronic waste.
Meanwhile, the Kenyan shilling is relatively steady against the US dollar amid low demand for the dollar. According to the Central Bank of Kenya, the shilling is now exchanging at 91 shillings and 97 cents buying, 92 shillings and 12 cents selling to the dollar. Against the euro, the home currency has weakened slightly to trade at 97 shillings and 37 cents buying, 97 shillings and 55 cents selling. It has, however, strengthened slightly to the sterling pound to exchange at 135 shillings and 75 cents buying, 136 shillings flat. Coming closer home, the Kenyan unit is trading at 7 shillings and 43 cents buying, 7 shillings and 53 cents selling to the Rwandese franc. Against the Tanzanian shilling, the home unit is exchanging at 20 shillings and 8 cents buying and 20 shillings 22 cents selling, while trading at 31 shillings and 47 cents buying, 31 shillings and 63 cents selling against the Ugandan unit. Let's now take a look at how various stocks close the day. Leading the day's highest gaining stocks is BSE Gases, whose stock rose by slightly over 8% to 147 shillings. It was followed by agricultural stock Sasini Coffee and Tea, which gained by nearly 6% to settle at 14 shillings and 50 cents. Newly listed consumer products company Flame Tree Group edged 5.5% upwards to 9 shillings and 50 cents apiece. Let's flip the chart to the losing stocks now, which were led by Standard Group. That's down 9.88% a day after releasing its full year results, which indicated an 8% growth in profitability. East African Portland Cement Company slid down 9.09% to 60 shillings, while tire manufacturer Samia Africa dropped by 8.76%. Well, and that's how we wind up Citizen Business Online tonight. I'm Terry Anchebeth. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great evening.